Hello, dear listener. Your American Rhino here. Just wanted to let you know a couple of things up top. First off, we sincerely apologize for our absence the last couple of weeks. There was some legitimate reasons why we couldn't post, and maybe some less legitimate reasons, but the fact of the matter is nothing's happened with the podcast. We are still doing it. We do still intend to keep doing it on a regular basis, and this little vacation that we've had is no indication that there's anything to be concerned about. Secondly, this podcast was actually recorded 2 weeks ago, so we had intended to release it that Friday as per usual, but because of various reasons, we were not able to. Nevertheless, there are some references in that podcast that make a lot more sense if you listen to this 2 weeks ago. So just be aware of that. That being said, that's it. Enjoy our usual nonsense.
So yeah, I don't want that to be my thing, and then I'm saying this, that, and the other thing, and then
no, that's fine. Really, that's great. That's fine.
And the home of the brave. Game on!
Ba 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 da 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 da. Welcome to the special Olympic 27th edition of the Hit the Grass podcast, where we talk grass hockey, field hockey, turf hockey. It's hockey with funny sticks. Oh, man, and speaking of field hockey, our girls sure put away the competition again today. They keep rolling along as we record 3-0 against the Indian team, which, as of course we know, the men's squad from India is the all-time leader in Olympic medals in the great sport of hockey. So that's a pretty big pedigree that we succeeded against today.
All right, nice job, ladies. Way to go.
How you doing, James?
I'm doing great. That's one heck of an entrance, my friend.
Oh, man, all this talk about hockey, field hockey, makes me want to get out there on the pitch.
Yeah, you're really confusing me now, man. It's another option to have out there, which is great. But, right, that's a good point, too, that they use kind of like candy cane-looking sticks as opposed to our traditional hockey sticks.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Oh, I was talking about deck hockey.
I'm sorry, deck hockey?
Yeah.
I may be a little confused. I hit my head earlier. What are we talking about?
I mean, it just so happens to be the Summer Olympics, which you're 100% right. But yeah, this is a podcast about deck hockey, and as you always say, hockey and sneakers. So we don't play on grass, though. We play on asphalt or maybe even concrete or.
All right, just 1 second. I need to make a slight adjustment, I think. Ow! Oh! Welcome to the Hit the Deck podcast, where we talk deck hockey, street hockey, ball hockey. It's hockey in sneakers. What was I saying, James?
Welcome back, the Rhino Mac. Yay. You scared me, man.
What? Oh, I don't... everything after a couple of seconds ago is a little bit of a blur. I'm not sure what... Anyway, apparently we're recording a podcast. Happy to be here. How are you, James?
I'm doing much better now. Thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm a little sore, but otherwise great.
Just a suggestion, and
yes.
Don't take this the wrong way.
Okay.
But a couple of episodes ago, when you went through your painstaking genius of the hockey helmet that you made for yourself, the goalie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Maybe if you wouldn't mind putting that on just in case. So
okay. It's a little warm, but sure, I can dig it out. I actually still have my hockey bag right here, so I can, if you want.
Okay, just no knocks on the head for the rest of the show, please.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
Okay.
Seems an oddly specific request, but no problem. I should be fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. What's going on, James?
Nothing. I was just curious if we should start with the starting lineup.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Starting lineup, that's why I keep you around, because you are the man with all the great ideas.
Not really, but...
All right, so for tonight's starting lineup, in goal, as ever, I am number 35, the American Rhino, Gary McComiskey, and of course, my co-host...
On defense, number 4, I'm James Sajazi.
Yes, you are. And the idea man, James Sajazi, if you would not mind, would you be so kind as to relate to myself and the listeners what's on deck for this podcast?
Would not mind at all, my friend.
Cool.
And thank you. Winter Olympics versus Summer Olympics. We know which one is our favorite at Hit the Deck. Now, which Olympic competition do you prefer? The U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame Class of 2016. The latest group of hockey heroes was just announced for enshrinement in our great country's Hockey Hall of Fame, led by an entire team. Maybe you have heard of them? And the dog days of summer. Yeah, we have hit the middle of August here in our neck of the woods, and as is supposed to be, it's hot and humid. Now, this is expected weather for sports like baseball, softball, and golf, but not so much for deck hockey. So, as we try to keep our cool, Gary and I will talk about some of our favorite hockey-playing dogs and or celebrity canines who we think would thrive at the sport. And that's what's on deck.
Thank you, James.
You are very welcome, sir.
All right. So, as you mentioned just now, the Olympics are upon us. And, I love the idea. Well, I shouldn't say I'm not so much a fan of the Olympics as I am a fan of American exceptionalism. So I enjoy seeing the USA win medals in various sports. It doesn't matter what the sport is, but as long as the USA is winning, I am completely on board. I suppose that makes me a bit of a jingoistic ultra-nationalist, but you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but isn't that basically the idea of the Olympics? It's just to show you that your country is the best in a way, and just through athleticism?
I think it's supposed to have something to do with nations coming together in the spirit of competition and friendly, I don't know, something about unity, I think. But USA, USA, USA.
Amen to that. But yeah, since this is a podcast about deck hockey, or hockey in general too, we figured, as Gary mentioned, yeah, we're in the middle of the Summer Olympics right now, but out of curiosity, personally for me, I love the Winter Olympics. I like the Summer Olympics very much. Believe me, I mean, I have the utmost respect for those athletes and the competitions that are out there. But for me, the Winter Olympics, they have hockey, which we've spoken many a times about the significance of the 1980 men's hockey team.
Absolutely.
The incredible victories. The Winter Olympics has speed skating, which that's just so much fun to watch. Curling, which is cool.
Yeah, explain curling to me, please, if you don't mind. My mom loves curling. I don't get it. It's like ice bowling, but with brooms. I don't get it.
Yeah, more or less. That's basically it. It's kind of like, yeah. And,
it's not even. I mean, it's not even bowling so much as it is like ice bocce.
A very good analogy, bocce. I'm trying to think of the deck sport that they play on boats and cruise ships and stuff.
Shuffleboard is the word you're looking for.
Thank you, sir. Shuffleboard. But anything literally is cooler on ice. So basically, right, that's what curling is. There's a couple of guys or girls, and I've even seen pregnant women compete in Olympics, by the way, on the curling team, which is pretty darn cool.
No, good for them.
Yeah.
Are they the sweepers or the stone throwers? I don't know if there's a name. There must be a name for that position.
Yeah, forgive me.
Curlers? I don't know.
For the sake of the podcast, that sounds right to me. And there's even a program on one of the cable shows, how it's made. And they showed you how they make the rock or whatever they call the
I have actually seen that.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But anyway, yeah, basically you described curling in a nutshell. It is on ice, and it's basically like shuffleboard or bocce. And I believe you have a team of 3 apiece. So one person pushes the rock, and then the other 2 scrape the ice in front of it in the attempts to keep it in the center, which I suppose the middle ring is the most points. And then, just like bocce, you try to knock that rock out of the circle, and that's how you get points and things like that. So it's for some reason or another, it's gained popularity here in the United States. It's obviously very popular in Canada, but TV ratings have spiked for that over the last few Winter Olympics. So go figure. But
I mean, I get bocce. I've never seen any old Italian men playing curling in the park. So, it's whatever.
There are quite a few Italians in my paisans up there in Toronto, particularly. So I'm sure they're out there. But right, it's not like it is here in Brooklyn and Queens, where
Perhaps.
I've seen some bocce tournaments get pretty heated pretty quickly. So
Also, Winter Olympics. If not for the Winter Olympics, we wouldn't have the Jamaican bobsled team. Cool runnings.
yeah, great. And another connection with Canada is John Candy starred in that movie too. and
Yes,
God
the
rest
late
his
great
soul.
John Candy. Oh, what a loss that was.
Yeah, amen to that, man. But his legacy will live on forever, I hope. But
I hope.
Great point. It should anyway. Mm-hmm. But yeah, exactly. Bobsled's one of my personal favorites as well. The team bobsled, and I think skeleton is just for the solo guys.
Yeah, I never
just-
understood the difference between bobsled and skeleton, but that's okay.
I think that's it in a nutshell.
Okay.
That the bobsled team, I think there's about 6 men or women or whatever the case is thereabouts. And then I think skeleton is just one crazy guy going down by himself.
Is that
Now
because by the time he reaches the bottom of the course, that's all he is?
Probably, yeah, exactly. All the skin and muscles just tear off as
Right.
he's breaking the sound barrier.
That's all that's
going-
left, yeah. Oh, well, okay.
And this is just to name a few Winter Olympics. And my other favorite is biathlon, which is cross-country skiing combined with rifle shooting. So it doesn't get cooler than that in my book.
Yeah, okay, so I know, spoiler, I know the direction we're going for this segment, and I have to say, biathlon I get. That's an actual life skill for some people. The need to be able to ski or be able to navigate cross country in the snow and then shoot something to get your dinner. I know they do target shooting, but that's the gist of it. That has real life applications. Whereas the Summer Olympics, they have these kind of like trick target shooting competitions. Like I don't get it. It seems to me like the Winter Olympics are sports, like real competitive sports, and things that have a basis in real life application. The Summer Olympics, there seems like a lot more extraneous things, like rhythmic gymnastics. Show me where in history somebody had to go out and their life depended on their ability to swing a ribbon around.
Wow, that's an excellent point, man. I'm glad that we're on the same team because I would not want to debate you in anything. So terrific point. Yeah, that makes total sense too. And I never really thought of it that way, but that really 100% makes sense to me. So very well observed there, Mr. Rhino Mac.
I mean, I guess a comparison could be made on the winter side to, say, figure skating. But even then, you're skating. Like, you're being, I don't know. It's something that takes, well, rhythmic gymnastics also takes a precise amount of coordination. So maybe they cancel each other out. But it's something like that seems so silly to me. And, like the swimming, I get the swimming. Swimming obviously is a very important skill. It's a fundamental thing. But why do they need 17 different events with, combinations of strokes? The men's relay, the men's freestyle relay, the men's breaststroke, the men's medley, the men's medley relay, the women's breaststroke. I don't get all the 1,000 different events that, the specialized events that they break this stuff down to.
Yeah, that's a great point, which is what makes the American athletes that much more impressive, that they, both female and male, dominate the swimming category, and they do run them through the mill. And yeah, that's a little bit too much for me and kind of unfair too. So I'm glad that Phelps has to win everything, and maybe they'll change that in the future. But way to go for the U.S. women and men. And I agree with you 100%. They can't win enough gold medals as far as I'm concerned. So,
although I will say I did see some of the kayak yesterday, and even though the American didn't do very well, the whitewater kayak is actually pretty cool.
Oh wow, yeah. See, I'll be honest with you. I haven't even watched any of the Summer Olympics at all this year.
I haven't really either. I only saw it yesterday because we were at my parents' house, and my mom watches it like religiously.
Yeah, that and it's on not only for locally for NBC. I was going to say Channel 4, but for people listening out there, that may be a whole other channel. But NBC locally for the broadcast, and then it's on every other cable channel that's associated with NBC. So USA, MSNBC,
CNBC, right?
True TV, whatever the heck else they make up as they go along. So you kind of can't avoid it. So it's kind of I think that should be another Olympic event. How not to watch the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, that one probably wouldn't get very much coverage.
No, it wouldn't. Yeah, it would be kind of boring seeing some fat guy just thumbing through the channels. But anyway, I being that fat guy. But yeah, and also
you sell yourself short, James.
Well, that's a whole other issue that I'm short. But anyhow,
now who's on fire?
Yeah, right. The Summer Olympics this year, among all those other crazy things, is they have the Zika virus to deal with. And that's really quite scary. And I totally don't criticize any athlete or even there were some broadcasters, female specifically, that are even pregnant. And that's just really dangerous to risk yourself for something that you shouldn't. So I'm not going to knock any of those people, golfers included, for not going and competing in the games this year because of the threat of the Zika virus and how dangerous that is. So
yeah, I really honestly, I mean, the Zika is something that they can't really control, and that's a tragedy. How many people have been affected by that. But
absolutely.
Zika aside, that's just one more nail in the coffin for Rio. I really don't know how most of these athletes even have the courage or the dedication to go. I mean, you heard all these horror stories leading up to the Olympics about how the place was in such bad shape. Even like a week ago, less than a week before the Olympics started, they were dredging out the waterway where some of the competitions were going to be held, and they told the athletes, do not breathe in the area of that waterway.
Holy cow, really?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So I just don't... And just a couple days ago, the diving pool where they do the high dive competitions, one morning it was green. They walked in the building and the pool was green because apparently the tank that holds the chemical solutions that cleans the water had run out of some chemical or other, and the pH level was so high that it was full of algae. But they said it was completely safe, so don't worry about it.
Wow, that's quite embarrassing to say the least. So.
Yeah, so Rio 2016.
There you go.
Sure is a good thing the IOC is in no way corrupt.
No, not at all. And let's not even get into the whole FIFA World Cup stuff either. But yeah, okay. But and we're not really. Well, I guess we are bashing the Summer Olympics, but it's all tongue in cheek, and just bear with us, please. But the Summer Olympics does have badminton and ping pong as actual events. So how about throwing in darts and bowling and billiards too?
I would like to see mini golf as an Olympic sport.
Great point, man. Why not? I mean, I'd compete in that. Even I could do that. So
I give ping pong a pass strictly because of Forrest Gump.
Okay.
I mean, that wasn't the Olympics, but I could see how that level of competition between nations could be exciting. So I'm okay with ping pong.
Yeah, again, we're just kind of nudging the Summer Olympics a little bit here, but it is incredible skill in how fast they fire the ball back and forth, and I don't know how they even see it, let alone hit the darn thing. So it gets kind of intense, but I'm used to, I mean, I've played ping pong, I've gone bowling, I'm not good at either, and badminton, come on, that's like the poor man's tennis and volleyball. I don't even know
basically
how to describe that one, but these aren't like, it's not boxing, it's not golf, it's not swimming, it's not gymnastics, it's kind of recreation farting around in upstate New York type thing to do when you're just relaxing and taking a deep breath, But that'll lead into field hockey and another Summer Olympic event. And, what is that? It's like, hey, here's a great idea. Let's go play hockey with a ball in grass and in sneakers. And oh, wait, that is a good idea. So never mind. We'll move on from that. But,
surfing is going to be an Olympic sport in 2020.
Okay, I'm cool with that. That makes sense. And those gals are pretty great athletes.
Funny thing about field hockey, actually, I was just looking up the rules before we went on the podcast, just because reasons. And I know that it's played with a funny looking stick, and that it in some way resembles actual hockey, but in many ways is very different as well. But did you know they are not allowed to play the backhand? They are only allowed to play one side of the stick.
No, I did not. Wow.
Even the goalie is only allowed to use one side of the stick.
Oh, come on. What the?
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Eee.
It just seems so bizarre to me. Like, how do you... Why... What?
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the fun in that?
I don't know. You can't refrain from that either. It's such a vital skill to have in any form of hockey, I guess, except for field hockey. But, boy, I never knew that.
Yeah.
So I guess they don't take slap shots either?
I don't know. I didn't look.
I always thought it was kind of like lacrosse, but with a funny-looking stick, as you said. But
what's kind of cool? Highlight.
What's that?
That's it's kind of like football, except I guess it's kind of like Quidditch, or Quidditch is kind of like that. It's like a team. It's a little like rugby, I guess, in that there's a ball and a team of guys or girls, I suppose, that throw it back and forth and go up and down the court, but they have to throw the ball into a net past a goalkeeper.
Oh, okay.
So it's I guess it's kind of like a mix of soccer and rugby.
Right. Which, getting back to what you so cleverly pointed out before, is the originality of the Winter Olympics versus it seems like they're making stuff up from the Summer Olympics or ripping off some Winter Olympic games and say, okay, it's hockey, but it's not really hockey, or it's football, but it's not really football. It's kind of like American Gladiators, I guess. I don't know.
You know what? You would think so, but and I only know this because, again, I was just looking up field hockey. Field hockey dates back in the Olympics to at least 1908.
Okay. So ice hockey is definitely older, but still, yeah.
Yeah, but sure. I don't know if it's been in the Olympics that long.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And no, I mean, it's an old field hockey is an old sport. Yeah. Apparently, there's suspicions that they played a version of it in ancient Greece because of like documentation that they have and what have you. But regardless, I'm just saying in terms of Olympic sports, it has some legitimacy. And highlight actually dates back to the I forget if it's like the Incas or the Aztecs or the Maya or what, some ancient South American tribe where they used to play with instead of a ball they would use a human head.
Yeah, I heard that's how soccer started too. They were kicking skulls around and then they decided to make a sport out of it.
So, it has roots.
Fair enough. That's cool, and I appreciate the history lesson too. So that puts it in perspective. But and again,
that's what we do here on the Hit the Books podcast.
That's right. We're all due respect, and to sum up the Summer Olympics, in all honesty, Gary and I have huge respect for cycling, swimming, boxing, gymnastics, and all of the other truly challenging, great sports of the Summer Olympics. But personally, for me, they took baseball away. So no baseball equals no Olympics in my book. So that's where I stand on the final Olympics versus Olympics.
James?
Yes?
I have some good news for you. In 2020, they're bringing back baseball.
Oh, great. Okay, cool.
And softball.
Even better. Awesome.
And skateboarding, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it seems weird. I don't know if it was ESPN concocted the quote-unquote X Games.
Yeah.
Where, like snowboarders and skateboarders got together and competed, BMX bike riders and such. And then, it grew in popularity, so then it slowly worked their way into the Winter and Summer Olympics. So that's good. I mean, those guys are athletes too. A lot of them do drugs where they shouldn't, but I'm not going to get up on my soapbox and again. But anyhow,
You know, the skateboarding and surfing actually brings me back to my youth when I used to play badly. TNC surf designs for the Nintendo.
yeah.
I think TNC stood for Town and Country. I think TNC Surf Designs was like a brand for, extreme sport, what we would now call extreme sports. I can't be sure because I was like 6, but I think that's, and please, listeners, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it was a game that I had for the NES, and it basically had 2 modes, surfing mode and skateboarding mode. And, I wasn't good at either of them. But I don't even know why I would have gotten TNC Surf Designs. It's not like me or anyone in my family was big into surfing or skateboarding. But there it is.
All right.
There might even have been a rollerblading or roller skating aspect. Maybe I'm thinking of a different... No, you know what? I think I'm thinking of like a Snoopy athletic game. I'm getting way off topic. This isn't the TNC Surf Designs podcast. So let's just eyes front, move on. Keep going.
Okay.
Keep going. Keep it going.
All right, yeah, we'll close the book on the Olympics for now and
Roll on.
talk about the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame induction class of 2016. So this is not the Hockey Hall of Fame in Canada, in Toronto. This is our own, in this country, the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame.
USA, USA, USA.
Absolutely, and deservedly so. So we're not stepping on the toes of the legendary place where the Stanley Cup lives by any means, but
No.
right, there are great enough players, men and women, that have built that beautiful sport up here in the United States, so they do need to be acknowledged. So the U.S. opened up its own specific Hockey Hall of Fame. And this year, in honor of the 20th anniversary of this incredible all-star team, and what a team it was, led by your personal favorite and MVP of the tournament, Mr. Mike Richter in goal.
Richter, yes, obviously.
Yep. Chris Chelios, Captain Brian Leach on D, and Pat LaFontaine, Mike Modano, and Tony Amante up front.
Mm-hmm.
And because Team Canada was so ridiculously stacked, Team USA was able to adopt, and just putting the air quotes up there, Canadian-born Adam Deadmarsh and some guy named Brett Hull, because they were U.S.
Brett
legal
Hull.
citizens.
Who's Brett Hull? Was it like
his dad-
a popcorn maker? What?
Probably, I don't know. I think his dad played hockey too. I don't know.
Some guy they dug up off the street, I guess.
Yeah. But we are, of course, talking about the legendary Brett Hull, and very sarcastically, I mean, every hockey fan knows that the Hull family.
Is there another one?
They are hockey royalty, yeah. But we are, as a whole, we're talking about the 1996 U.S. World Cup of Hockey team. And the entire team this year, because it is the 20th anniversary and the World Cup of Hockey is coming back this September, they put the whole group of all-stars, which did do an amazing job in that tournament, winning it all, into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame.
So a bunch of those guys are now 2-time Hall of Famers. Well, 2-time USA Hall of Famers.
Yes, exactly right. Specifically, and I know for a fact, Mr. Mike Richter, Brian Leach, which I believe they were both inducted the same year, Chris Chelios, I'm sure Mike Modano, Tony Amante, and Pat LaFontaine. Yeah, I think all of them, actually. All the guys that we just listed are in there.
Some of them might even be 3-time Hall of Famers if you count the that league Hall of Fame that they.
Yeah, you know what? I'm curious if college hockey had. They probably do, because there've been some incredible players that come out of that and from college and then moved on to bigger and better things in the NHL and so on and so forth. But yeah, pretty incredible. But getting back to Brett Hull, he actually led the entire tournament with 11 points and scored one of the most legendary goals of the tournament as well in the clinching, I believe it was the clinching game over Canada in the final.
Bet they're sorry they let him go.
Yeah, and talk about coming back to bite you in the butt. But in Canada's defense, and I just want to point out that I'm wearing a Bret the Hitman Hart shirt that Gary bought for me So I'm afraid that it's going to come to life and beat the crap out of me. But the Team Canada of the 96 World Cup team of hockey had Wayne Gretzky, Steve Yzerman, Theo Fleury, who, to me, Fleury and Gretzky are my all-time favorite hockey players, Paul Coffey, Joe Sakic, Brodeur in goal, and our own Brad of the LIQ, his favorite.
He was on that team?
Yeah, Pat Verbeek was.
Oh, not Brad.
Yeah, Brad, as far as I know, he's an American-born, so he would have been on Team USA.
All right, okay, good.
Yeah, so to knock those guys off was absolutely incredible, and it was in Canadian soil, too. The USA did incredible throughout the entire tournament, and they really dominated. It was an amazing team, all-star after all-star, great player after great player. Virtually everybody stepped up and contributed too, specifically Mr. Number 35, who was just standing on his head, as he always did for the Rangers too, but it was nice to see the world enjoy that athleticism and greatness and never say die attitude of Mike Richter. So they really did very well against stiff competition, but the deck was stacked in Canada's favor. Well, it is their sport, so I never really mind if we have to lose to anybody, us being Team USA, to Canada, because it is their beloved sport. But game one of the final, where obviously the U.S. faced Canada, was played in Philadelphia, and I believe Steve Yzerman scored an overtime goal to beat Team USA and take a 1-0 lead in the best-of-3 series. And then games 2 and 3 were both in Montreal in Canada. So forget about a disadvantage for Team USA, but they didn't even bat an eye at that, and they won both games 5-3. And game 3, which was an incredible nail-biter, I believe Team USA was down 2-1 in the third, and then I think Amante scored the game-tying goal late, and they banged out like 3 goals or something in the final waning minutes of the game and ended up winning 5-3. It was really a remarkable victory, and Richter just really stood on his head to hold off that ridiculous Team Canada, including the greatest player in the history of mankind being Wayne Gretzky, guys like Yzerman and Fleury and Coffey. I mean, the best of the best.
Yeah,
So really
I guess I've heard of some of those guys.
Yeah, right. So when they won in the 2002 Olympics, they had a little bit of a chip on their shoulders, Team Canada. So really, and deservedly so for Team USA. They earned it, every bit of it. So I don't know if they just turned into the 1980 Olympic team somehow or took a page from that book. And quite frankly, as a matter of fact, today, as we record this podcast, is unfortunately the untimely anniversary of when we lost Coach Herb Brooks. He passed away on this day in 2003 at a very young age and way too early. But his speaking of spirits living on, Coach Brooks definitely, as long as there is any kind of hockey being played in the United States and possibly anywhere in the world, Coach Brooks will live on through that. So really kudos to the 1996 U.S. World Cup hockey team.
Yeah, and they're bringing it back. They're bringing back the World Championships next year. So I don't know what that means for the future of Olympic hockey, but, it'll be nice to see that kind of international competition strictly devoted to hockey, where the focus of the world can, you don't have to worry about, that's great. They won in hockey, but did you see what happened in the luge? You can just, it's hockey time. Everyone's coming together, and it's all about hockey, and that'll be nice to see. So can't wait for that.
I'm sorry to step over you. Yeah, I can't wait either, exactly. But that's the cool thing, too, is that they do it in September, so when the NHL season kicks in, that's kind of like a really intense preseason for them to prepare. So it kind of works out well. And the guys are in such tremendous shape as it is nowadays, so I think they're pretty much ready to go after a few preseason games anyway, so now they have to step it up a little bit. But I agree, it's such great competition. It's so much fun. It's round-robin style and a nice little great way to whet the appetite for the upcoming NHL season. So I'm really very excited about it and looking forward to it as well.
Great.
But in the meantime, we are still in the middle of the quote-unquote dog days of summer.
Oh, 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 oh. Rory Reggie.
That's not fair. You got to do the rest of the show without me. I'm done. Oh. That's painful. I know why they make laughing gas now. Oh, my God. Woo, yeah, so... Right, oh, boy. The dog days of summer.
I think I broke James.
Yeah, you did, actually.
Sorry.
Oof. Well worth it. Well worth it. You are an amazingly talented young man, so thank you for that.
I think you're wrong on both counts there, actually.
Anyhow, yeah, so we thought it would be a good idea to try and pass the time and hope that the air conditioner keeps doing what it's doing and maybe the hot and humid weather will cease and the said aforementioned World Cup of Hockey tournament will be upon us, and then the NHL season will start after that.
Think cool thoughts.
Absolutely. So to sarcastically talk about the dog days of summer, Gary and I thought it would be a good idea to put together a fantasy celebrity dog deck hockey team. So one day, Gary and I were talking about the great Sport Goofy, who is the only legitimate hockey-playing dog on this list, by the way.
Yes, I agree with that. And just an aside for the listener, anytime James says Gary and I thought it would be a great idea, what he means is James thought it would be a great idea, and Gary said, "You've done it again, Sajazi."
That's not fair. I mean, you're the one that does all the editing and you record the show, and then you come up with the funny little tags, and you do the YouTube show and all that editing and all that stuff, and then you put it all up, and you have the Facebook, and you have Twitter and Gmail and all this other crazy stuff.
Yeah. You were talking about Goofy.
Yeah. So don't give me that. But anyway, right, Sport Goofy. So Gary and I fondly remember the classic hockey Sport Goofy cartoon, the specific hockey one.
Oh, yeah.
And if you haven't seen that, it really would make any hockey fan tear up with laughter. And what Gary did to me before with the dog impressions, that's how hard you will laugh at it as well. It's very tongue-in-cheek and a little sarcastic, but as long as you have a good sense of humor and your love of hockey, you'll appreciate the Sport Goofy hockey.
The premise of these cartoons is that Goofy doesn't actually know how to play, and so he's got these like how-to tapes that are telling him how the games are played and how these things are done. So he's trying to go along and do the things that are being explained to him, but it's Goofy, so he's really not very good at them, and he fails to hilarious comic effect.
Yeah, and as great as the animation was back then, and they were true artists, in my opinion, Warner Brothers included. I always loved the classic Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoons as well. But all due respect to the modern computers and things, but to hand paint all those things and make them frame by frame was remarkable.
Sure.
But the sound effects of all things were, to me, I thought the funniest part of the hockey Sport Goofy. And every time that they would get in fights and the sound effects with that, and the oofs and the ahs and the things breaking and stuff. And it was very, very funny. So definitely, yeah, check it out if you can, if you haven't already. But yeah, Gary and I think that definitely Sport Goofy has to be on our all celebrity canine deck hockey team.
One might say he's the top dog.
Perfect. Oh, come on, that was great. I disagree with the crowd there, but another guy on the roster I was thinking of adding, and Gary is the master of putting together fantasy deck hockey teams, so I'm glad we're on the same page here as opposed to going head-to-head. So what do you think about the great McGruff, the crime dog? He can sure take a bite out of crime. Personally, I think it would be a good idea to put him in net. How do you feel on both cases since you are a goalie too?
I definitely agree with McGruff. I don't know. I might make him the manager because he always seemed kind of very laid back and just kind of stern, and he was more of the teacher than the active participant in those commercials.
Good point. And he did have that trench coat, so he kind of looked coach-like. So
Right, I could see him like standing there, and, like a real old kind of I don't know, Vince Lombardi maybe, kind of like with the fedora and a stogie in his mouth, kind of like go get him. Kind of.
Sure. He'd definitely have great strategies. So good point there.
Mm-hmm.
Another celebrity dog, which is close to my heart, from my favorite all-time TV show ever, The Dukes of Hazzard, Flash the Basset Hound, the beloved Basset Hound of Roscoe P. Coltrane. The other cool thing about Flash is a she. So there's one for the females out there for the dog deck hockey team. Now, in all honesty, Flash was very lazy, but if you convinced her that somehow she was playing against Boss Hogg, then look out, because she hated Boss Hogg and she'd always come to life and bark and make his life a living disaster. So I vote for Flash the Basset Hound.
You know who, this isn't on the list, but you know who I would definitely put on a team, just about any team I was assembling in terms of dogs, was Ace from Batman Beyond. That was Bruce Wayne's dog, and he was a fierce dog. He was strong as an ox. He was fearless, fiercely loyal. That was I would sick Ace on just about anybody.
Excellent pick. You're always you're amazing.
Yeah,
so
I cheat. I just bring up Batman. It's like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Well, obviously it's Batman.
That's not cheating. That's just the way to live life. But so is Ace in goal? That sounds like goal equalities to me.
You know what? I put Ace in goal. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Nice.
I mean, maybe he should be in goal because he might be a little too aggressive if he was a forward or a defenseman.
Yeah, right.
For the betterment of the other team, for their own safety.
Nice.
Although it reminds me of a T-shirt that a friend of mine has, and I've seen it elsewhere too, but it says, always be yourself. Unless you can be Batman, then always be Batman.
I like it. So how about this for defense? Marmaduke and Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Yeah, okay. I would have concerns about Clifford maybe breaking the ice, since he would probably be roughly the size of the entire rink. But if it can support him, yeah, I'm down with that.
Okay, cool. So, right. I don't know. Yeah, if Clifford can control how big he is, kind of like the Incredible Hulk, there are different.
I've not heard of that being one of his abilities, but okay, sure, I'll go with it.
Do me a favor. Have your daughter sit down with the little girl from the book and work on that, okay?
Emily Elizabeth?
Please. Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. I only know that because Julia has some Clifford books, and she loves them. So
awesome. So that leaves a roster spot open now because McGruff we have behind the bench. So,
although I threw an ace, so I think it evens out.
No, it worked out perfectly because I thought McGruff would have been a goalie. Mm-hmm. You suggested ace, so we put McGruff out of goal and behind the bench. So ace plugs right in there. So we got we got Goofy as forward. We got ace in goal. We got Flash as forward, and two defensemen in Marmaduke and Clifford.
Right. So we still have a couple of forward slots that we need to fill, I believe.
Yeah, so they got the 2D, two forwards. Yeah, so one at least just for a starting lineup anyway. Mm-hmm. So and we could do whatever we want with this. This could be the ultimate celebrity dog deck hockey team. So we don't need to just limit it to 5 or 6 or whatever. But on the list to choose from, you got Goliath from Davy and Goliath.
Sure.
Yeah. Talk about loyalty and a big dog and cool and down to earth and trustworthy.
Pass me the puck, Davy.
Exactly. We got Odie from I Grew Up Loving Garfield. So
yes,
Odie,
absolutely. Odie was not always that bright though, so he might be more of a goon.
True, that's right. That's especially if he's with that big tongue, he could lick people and cause some trouble there. Yeah. Ralph. I mean, if Ralph doesn't want to play, he can at least play the organ.
Yeah, right. Ralph can be the organist.
So there you go.
Perfect.
Obviously, you got probably the two most famous dogs are Lassie and Rin Tin Tin.
Yeah, full disclosure, I never really watched any of those I guess they were like serials or shorts or whatever they were. I think they made movies, at least of Lassie too. But I never really watched those features. But that being said, I never really understood the difference between Lassie and Rin Tin Tin, especially since in the beginning they were in black and white. So to me, it was just, dog that saves people and helps. That's the same thing.
Right.
But you know what? Maybe it's like the Hanson brothers. You know, it's you have several of the same type of player, and they're somewhat interchangeable, and they work well because of it.
Fair enough. Yeah, and in terms of that too, I know that he was old and long in the tooth, for lack of a better term, but Old Yeller, he was another famous dog. Skip from a movie, My Dog Skip, who I think he also met his demise a little bit too early too. So
that I am not familiar with.
Yeah, for all the ladies out there, Harry Connick Jr., that's one of his movies. Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
They gotta go Scooby.
But not Scrappy-Doo, right?
No.
He does not make the cut.
He does not make the cut.
He can be the peanut vendor.
Maybe. But we'll see about that. Kind of Scooby's crazy cousin Astro, and he's from the future.
Yes, Astro. Okay, Astro is a quality dog.
Yep. I think his name was, I'm thinking off the top of my head, from the movie Canine, which
Never saw
was,
it.
Jim Belushi was in it. He was named after Bruce Lee, I think, if I remember correctly. But he was a German Shepherd, so he was a fairly famous celebrity dog. And probably the last one on my list anyway is, and I'm sure he's not doing anything now either, if he's even still alive, but Spuds MacKenzie. You know, he had a pretty good run there.
Yeah, sure. Spuds MacKenzie, absolutely. He was Air Bud ever in any hockey movies?
Excellent point. I think when we talked about our favorite hockey movies a few hit the decks ago, that when they made the MVP chimp playing, the chimpanzee playing hockey.
I remember. Most Valuable Primate.
Right. I think they originally thought of putting Air Bud in it and then thought, well, he's already associated with basketball, so let's just change the animal altogether and go with a much, personally for me, I mean, I love chimpanzees. I mean, dogs are awesome. Sure,
yep.
Don't want to get me wrong there, but come on. I mean, a chimp playing hockey is just too darn cool to pass up. So yeah, I don't think Air Bud made it on the ice, but offhand, I believe that's what the story was behind how they went with a chimpanzee instead.
Well, there's Hong Kong Phooey, although he probably wouldn't play too well in today's politically correct society. There's let me see. There's Droopy, although he would probably be a little bit of a lazy player. I don't know.
I love Droopy too. Very good call.
Yeah, no, he's good. Although, you know, if I don't know, it would take him half an hour just to call for the puck.
Right, and I think Snoopy. How about Snoopy?
Snoopy, sure. Although he might get distracted thinking he's a World War I flying ace at some point and just like run off or skate off. Plus, he's not very good to Woodstock when he plays with him, so I don't know how good of a teammate he'd be.
Good point.
Bit of a selfish player, I think, Snoopy, probably.
Yep. Well, yeah, he did sell out Charlie Brown every chance he got, too. So.
Right? Yep, absolutely.
Not cool.
Not cool at all, man. Come on, Snoopy. Man's best friend. But
so, yeah, you know what? I can't make a decision. So anybody out there listening, if you have an opinion, please let us know. Gary will tell you in a minute how to contact us. Who should fill out that final deck hockey dog roster spot?
You know what? How about Slinky Dog from Toy Story?
Well, yeah, right.
He could play offense and defense simultaneously.
And you'd never have to worry about offsides either.
Right. Right.
So,
yes.
Yeah, good one.
Oh, yes. We have too much time on our hands.
Last minute remaining in the podcast.
Oh, mercifully. Yes. So anyway, thank you, James, for another delightful episode of Hit the Deck. Thank you, the listener, for sitting through this episode of Hit the Deck and for coming back and for being the loyal listener that you are. We genuinely appreciate you. Thank you to Anthony Sajazi for music contributions. Thank you to the LIQ for sound effects. Pops for being the voice of the podcast. Please listen to said podcast on Stitcher and subscribe on iTunes. You can email us at hitthedeck@gmail.com or contact us on Twitter at hitthedeckpod. Look for our Facebook and Instagram pages at Hit the Deck, and of course our YouTube channel, which is the Hit the Deck channel on YouTube, as you might have guessed. I feel like I've forgotten something. What important thing have I forgotten to mention, James?
I think iTunes, but I'm not 100% sure if you mentioned so many things.
I think I dropped iTunes. I think I did.
Okay, so I wasn't paying attention, so I'm going in the penalty box now.
That's okay. I'm guilty of that myself. I often tune out when I start talking. But getting back to the YouTube, I mentioned this last week, but this is the week you're definitely going to want to subscribe. So we have some really cool things in the pipe coming down. So go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to Hit the Deck, so you can be notified as soon as our really cool content drops. And thank you for doing that. So finally, temperatures can run very high in these hot days of summer. So whether you're outside competing or even just sitting on your couch watching the Olympics and yelling at people that you've never met who are not getting paid to do this and have devoted their entire lives to something that, in the grand scheme of things, won't mean that much. Remember, it's deck hockey. Don't be that guy. Thanks, everybody.
I'll just punch a guy in the face and end it right there. So
all right.
You don't need the body slam him.
Fair enough.